Greetings everyone, my name is Elena Ra. It has been a really long time since I did the last podcast, but I decided to make one today. It's the 10th of February 2017, and many of us have been experiencing a heightened sense of anxiety energetically. About a few weeks ago, the planet received quite a loud burst of solar energy from the sun, and there's a lot of astrological things happening at the moment, including the new moon eclipse that's coming up tonight, between tonight and tomorrow night, and leading up to a solar eclipse a couple of weeks after. And from what I can tell, there's a lot of energy that is coming up to be purged, a lot of energy that's coming up so we can release things finally. The energy of this year is really heightened. We have 4 episodes where it's akin to the energy that we felt on 2012, on the 21st of December 2012. So this year is incredibly significant for all people on the planet, and for all sensitive ones to just be aware that not to interpret what's going on as something that is fearful to allow us to contract, but in actual fact to expand. And therefore it's really important to disconnect from things that we would normally disconnect from, or things that we would normally connect to, like technology or people, so we can really remain focused at this time and tap into the energy stream, allow ourselves to have conversations with individuals that we need to, our loved ones, our friends, to clear the air and to actually release any residue of dense energy within our body matrix. And this is really, really important. Our dreams are also telling us how we're feeling at the moment. There are many people who are having unexpected incidents that are really asking us to pay attention and to remain aware of how we're feeling moment by moment. And it's also really important to allow whatever is arising within you to come out and finally have its day or its time in the light and release it into the light. This is a form of transmutation, and by allowing all these aspects to surrender themselves, then we transcend aspects of our mortality. Another thing that's quite important at the moment is to recognize that nothing is intrinsically right or wrong. Everything that's ever happened in the world or to us makes perfect sense. There's a reason why everything is happening, including what's happening around the world politically, economically, and spiritually. Everything is coming up to be released and to be purged. So allow it to happen. Be gentle with yourselves and be patient with yourself and be patient with others. It's also really important, I feel, and this may be because in the West many people are very sort of locked when it comes to sexuality or our sexual energy. Now, our sexual energy is actually our innate strength. In the tarot, the card for sexuality is also the lion, and it's interesting, the lion being ridden by this maiden with free abandonment, and the moon that we're experiencing is a moon in Leo. It is really asking us to empower ourselves with the primal energy that we have within us. Our sexual energy, which is our purpose, our driving force, our will, our desire to carry forward. So this is a beautiful mix of energy between masculine and feminine energy. The feminine is receiving the information or the inner tuition or the intuition or the insight, and the masculine energy is actually allowing it to come up and to reveal itself, or even relieve whatever may have been suppressed energetically. So let's be mindful that we don't end up misinterpreting what's happening, because our inner guidance, when it picks up that the field may be unsafe, we tend to identify that energy as fearful, so we pull back. And what's important is for us to step back just slightly so we can observe it for what it is, rather than identify to it and allow ourselves to be defined by the experience. Because of course fear is actually irrational in nature on some level. But humanity, for many years, we have lost that instinct of survival. When we used to live out in the field or in the bush, we would have this fight or flight situation, like a lot of animals, if they're being pursued by a predator. But in the West, because we don't have those sort of threats, it has become more of a subtle emotional feeling. And this is these are the fears that exist within the Western world that many of us regard as terrorism. Now, I'd like to add something to that, because I think it's really important to recognize that terrorism only exists because we have left unattended the aspects of ourselves that have either been abandoned or abused or wounded or even terrorized. And also that aspect of ourselves that we may sabotage, terrorize, or wound ourselves. So the reason why terrorism can exist and why there's so much fear in the world is because we've left so much of our own energy body or pain body unattended. And it's so easy to point our finger to another person or our governments or whatever, and saying that they're responsible for what's going on. But we really have to pay attention at this time for our own pain body, and therefore our own salvation is in our own hands. It should be quite clear now that we're living in a world where we have to do the work ourselves. We have to work towards lightening our own body. And when I say light, I'm not just referring to luminosity, I'm talking about density. And by that I mean getting rid of all the stuff that is anchoring us in these mortal confines of duality: fear, pain, rejection, abandonment, abuse, unspoken things, unrequited love. Our models of the world is a scary place, I'm all alone and nobody loves me, or that's men for you, or that's women for you, or that's life. It's really important right now that we begin to reframe these stories that we've created about ourselves and life, love and living, and really step into the fullness of who we are. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm really allowing myself now to take time. I have been for a while, to take time out for the next, how long it takes really, just to do the work that is coming up to be accessed at this point. So my name is Elena Ra. I love you so much. Be well, walk in beauty, and be in your own power. Step into your sovereignty. Accept and allow your higher self to descend into physical form. This is how we find and discover heaven on earth. So be well, my loves, and until the next time, enjoy this period. Allow whatever to comes through to just come and go, as everything does. Everything passes, and this too shall pass. And rather than sit back, allow yourself to have this come and go with full consciousness. Even, it's great at this point to write down all these things, all the things that you are energetically working on. Write them down, create a sacred space and a fire, and put them to the fire for transmutation. After all, we are in the Chinese astrological year of the fire, well, it's a rooster or a chicken, but it's also very, very much associated with the firebird or the phoenix. So this is really a time, it feels to me also that this is a time where the phoenix isn't just rising from the ashes, but it has already risen. So it's beginning to shake its feathers out. So sparks are flying all over the place, as it's beginning to get used to this new becoming, this new birthing, this new version of itself, right? And this is what's happening to all of us. We are constantly recreating ourselves as versions so we can function in the energy stream that we are stepping into moment by moment. Okay, and as we create the new paradigm, as we create newer and fresher and lighter versions of ourselves, this is really how we create the new reality, and a new reality within us, so we can move out of duality and really step into the one. So nothing is ever truly lost that is essentially compatible to our original blueprint and our original innocence. I love you. My name is Leni Ra, as I said before, and big kisses to you. Okay, bye bye for now.